Hello and welcome to Game Day 1 review and Game Day 2 preview of the Bundesliga. That's Bundesliga show. My name's Gav Mack. I'm joined by Flo Wolfram from Bayer Leverkusen. How are you, pal?
I'm great, and it's great to see you again, Gav, and it's great to see you, Devil. Really looking forward to the show tonight.
Oh,
so polite. So polite. I'm not used to that. You know?
Hey, look, people bag on Germans a lot. Honestly, they're actually really nice people, and Flo is definitely one of those. And Dev, it's so basically how it works. You know, I'm from Two Up Top. Dev is from the Football Dugout, but it's a team thing. It's our show.
Yep, collaboration.
Indeed. How are you, Dev?
I'm good. I'm very good. I can't complain. You know, I'm here, ready to go, man. Excited.
Man, I just love German football. I've loved it for about 15, 16 years. So, you know, I weren't about that sort of bandwagon that people got on at the end of last season. It's all about bringing the Bundesliga to the UK. And then once we've done that, we give it back to Flo and he sends it around all his German pals. That's how it works. That's how it works.
For sure.
Hey,
yeah.
How does it feel having football back, Flo, and having fans in stadiums?
It feels very, very good. It's the first step into a kind of normality, and it's also a huge responsibility for the football clubs because they are making the way for other sports. So it's a really good feeling, and I love to be in the stadium on Saturday watching Leverkusen against Leipzig and have some around about 6,000 fans in the stadium. Really looking forward to that. Can't imagine how it will be.
Oh, brilliant stuff! And Dev, when did your affiliation to Bundesliga come around?
A fair few years ago. It wasn't as long ago as you. I'd say about 5 or 6 years ago. You know, I just found that I preferred it was a bit more exciting in the fact that teams just had a go. Teams had their own philosophy. Every team had their own philosophy, and they played to their strengths. There's not such a thing of, right, we're going to play Bayern this week, so we have to sit back and put 8 men behind the ball. It's like, no, we're confident in the way that we play. Let's play football and let's two styles against each other. We've seen how it ends up for some teams, but they're not afraid to play. You know, they go and play. And there's always goals in the Bundesliga as well. You know, the crowd's always massive, passionate. And I just think tactically it's a bit more, it's at a higher level than the Premier League for me.
I wholeheartedly agree. The entertainment factor of Bundesliga football is an absolute joy. There's one game where it didn't quite happen that way, but we'll come to that later on. There's all our social media links going on down the bottom of the screen right now. So you've got the Two Up Top boys, and then you've got the Football Dugout boys as well. All our stuff's going down there, personal and our main pages. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, everything that you see. Let's get cracking. Why don't we go into the first game of football right then? There's more to football in the Bundesliga than Bayern Munich, so why not start with Borussia Dortmund? Yeah, there you go. Borussia Dortmund, they won 3-0 at home to Borussia Mönchengladbach, or that German club, as some of the Scottish people call it. The goals came from Reina and 2 goals from the boy, and right in the heart of my fantasy team, Erling Haaland. Dev, I'll come to you first. What were your thoughts on the game as a whole? You know, Dortmund looking. Did they look like they had a bit of a hangover or anything at all?
Yeah, I think Dortmund, from the first half, they looked a little bit laboured. A little bit, 1 or 2 things wasn't happening for them. I think Mönchengladbach looked dangerous without looking like they had that killer instinct to actually, you know, go ahead and score a goal. I think playing without Thuram or Alassane Player, they looked a bit toothless up front in the first half. I think they could have done with those players in the team, but I think Dortmund looked comfortable for the most part. And then obviously you get players like Haaland, and something's going to come up at some point. They won the penalty, which, you know, he put away. Reina, for me, the first half, I thought Reina looked a bit in and out, but he's 17. That's going to happen.
He's allowed.
He's allowed. He looks a very good prospect, but I don't think he looked too dangerous until he popped up and got himself a goal. But I think Dortmund, Torgan Hazard at wing back didn't work, and then he got injured. Obviously, they had to take him off. But I think they missed Hakimi. Obviously, he's no longer there. Guerrero, who didn't play. I think they look a different side without those players. But it's a good win, a massive win, because Borussia Mönchengladbach will be thereabouts towards the end of the season.
Yeah, they're not going to be laying down.
Yeah, so that's a very impressive win for first game of the season. 3-0, solid, clean sheet against a dangerous side.
Yeah, Flozif, these two are clear rivals to Leverkusen. I know that you're a Leverkusen fan. You don't just work for a club; you're a Leverkusen fan. These two are clear rivals, and these are the type of teams that you're meant to be coming up against to try and get yourself into the Champions League next season. So, how did you see the game, and do you see that there'll be a threat again for those Champions League spots?
First of all, I think both will be a threat for the Champions League spots, or will be contenders for the Champions League spots. But Borussia Dortmund demonstrated in an impressive way that they are at least number 2 in Germany. Well, Bayern Munich is maybe out of the league, but Borussia Dortmund, their players had shown incredible strength and power. Looking at the counter attack to the 3-0 was great. But as Devo already mentioned it, I believe it was very hard, especially for Gladbach, playing without Player and Thuram in the starting 11. So they shouldn't mind too much about the match, because winning in Dortmund is not the most important match of the season for them. For example, they haven't won there since, I believe, 2015 or something like that. So the last time Gladbach won in Dortmund was when actually Lucien Favre was Gladbach coach.
There you go. So he knows the crack. He knows exactly what's going on. That third goal, I just want to come in on that third goal, because if you want a striker to bust a gut, then that was proof of busting a gut, because that was a wonderful counter-attack anyway. We already know the pace of what Sancho can do. But when you look at a striker who is 6 foot and some, what is he? Well, anyone taller than me is beyond 6 foot anyway. I'm not the tallest man in the world. But then just the way that Haaland just powered through in order to get on the end of it, and just the finish as well. He's such a natural talent.
Yeah. I think it shows that he wants to score goals. That's what he's there for. He knows he's quite limited in his game in terms of he's not the neatest on the ball. He's not going to be the smartest in terms of his vision to pick a pass or anything like that. His game is, I'm here to score goals. No matter where he is on the pitch, he's always looking at a way to, where can I be to position myself so that I can score and be at the end of this move. That's all he wants. So as soon as he saw that ball break, he thought, I need to get myself in position to score, because there's a chance here. And he just took off. And I didn't know he had that kind of pace in him. I knew he was quick.
I think he's like an animal. He's so hungry for goals. Yeah. And looking into his eyes when he was running across the pitch, man, that was insane.
Yeah, I think if someone would have cut across him, they would end up in hospital. I think there's nothing that's going to stop him from getting on with it.
He's not just tall. He's actually got a bit of broadness to him as well.
He's a big guy.
Yeah, he has indeed. Let's move on to the next game. Leipzig. Let's talk about Leipzig. Leipzig 3, Mainz 1. Those goals, they came from a number of players there. I'll just get the goal graphic on the screen. Do you know when you try and get so much football into your brain and you're like, oh my God, what's happening here? But the goals, they came from Forsberg. Oh yes, from the penalty, of course. Yusuf Poulsen, he scored as well. Haidara was there to put the game to bed. Mateta did try and cause a few issues there, but look, I think Leipzig are not going to struggle without Werner, but they need to ensure that they've got a half decent plan B, because Sorloth, who was actually signed by Crystal Palace, and so some people might have recognised his name from there, but out on loan in Turkey last season, he's now signed on a 5-year deal. And Patrick Schick, he looks like he's made the permanent move as well after him being on loan to Roma. So do you think those sort of players are going to be the ones, Flo, that make the difference to Leipzig going forward this season?
I don't think that Sørloth maybe makes a difference for Leipzig this season, but I read an interesting article during the week that Sørloth wasn't given the time he needed in Crystal Palace, or at Crystal Palace. He was thrown into the cold water They were struck in the middle of the fight for relegation or battle for relegation. Had no time, was directly on loan to another club. So I believe Leipzig will give him the time, but he could become a much more important factor maybe in the next season. This season, from my point of view, they still need to improve in the first line of the offense, so they still need another striker. What's behind is great with Forsberg, with Campbell, I don't know, Paulsen. He's a great and important player for them, but still I think the offensive quality in Leipzig is enough for the top four or for a top four contender and to play Champions League in the upcoming season or to qualify for Champions League again.
Devo, do you think Forsberg, yes, he scored the penalty, has he fulfilled his potential?
No, it's a strange one because the season when Werner really took off and Leipzig really cemented themselves as a challenger in Germany when they finished as runners-up, Forsberg had an amazing season. I remember he was linked with Liverpool and linked with all these moves, and then he got a bad injury, and he never really got back into the side, and we never saw Forsberg again as we did that one season. I think this is a massive season for him. I think now that Werner's gone, they're looking for a new star, someone to hang their hat on, and I think Forsberg could be that guy if he has a run of games and gets back to the form he had before. I think Forsberg and Sabitzer are going to be two really important players for them if they could keep them both fit. As far as Sorloth, yeah, he didn't get a chance at Palace. Sometimes it happens in the Premier League, especially in relegation-threatened sides, where if you don't hit the ground running, they haven't got time for you. There's too much at stake. They're not there to babysit. So he did go to Turkey, and he was top goal scorer, I believe, in Turkey last season. And it's a bit of a strange transfer because I heard Palace paid the Turkish club, I think it was Trabzonspor, I'm not sure, paid them to end the loan early so they could sell him to Leipzig. So I think Trabzonspor got 10 million and the rest went to Leipzig. So it's a bit strange one. But yeah, I think Leipzig will be okay this season. The goals from Werner obviously will be a miss, but I think they're going to have to just share it around the team. Other players are going to have to step up. Paulsen's not going to get you 20 goals a season. You know that.
No, he's not.
But if they could get Forsberg or Sabitzer, and they could get Sorloth and whoever else to get
maybe Olmo to get in there, get involved.
Yeah, Olmo, yeah. Any of those guys can get close to 10, 15 goals, then I think they'll be okay.
Anthony, who's watching the show, thank you very much for watching. He says Leipzig will have a good season and a good European campaign. Their manager is tactically astute. Now, I've got a lot of time for Julian Nagelsmann, and I do find it weird at the same time as well that his birthday and year is a day before mine. And there's us lot sitting here chatting about the Bundesliga, and he's out there wearing his Nike Air Max on the touchline because there's something about his swag which I absolutely love. He does not care for anyone. He won't wear he won't wear a suit on a cup final. I do that when I'm playing Football Manager, mate.
He wore a great suit in the Champions League semi-final.
Yeah, it didn't work.
There were lots of memes in Germany.
Yeah, we're a fan of that.
There's a team who struggled a bit last season, and they survived via the playoffs, and that was Werder Bremen, and they lost 4-1 at home to Hertha Berlin. Now, Hertha Berlin have got a few players that I absolutely love, but I'll come to you first, Devo. What did you think of the leadership from the new club captain, Dedrick Boyata?
Oh, is he the new club captain? He's been around for a long time, hasn't he?
He's
a good player. He is a good player. I don't think he ever got a real chance in England with Man City because, again, it's Man City. You have to have a certain character to play for them. But good player. I think Hertha Berlin, I like the team they've got. They've put together a nice little team there. I think they're going to do very well this season. I think Ludobakio, I'm very surprised.
Love him, by the way. Love him.
I'm surprised he never got a chance with Watford. He was just loaned out. I don't think he ever made an appearance for them before they sold him.
I think he might have played like one League Cup game, but
yeah,
But it was good business for Watford, like selling him for 20 million.
Yeah.
Not even playing a single game for the club.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe if they would have played him, they could have got a player who could have kept him up. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows? But they got some very good players there. Hertha Berlin,
I still find it weird that Leipzig, we just spoke about Leipzig a moment ago, and maybe a player who's missing from Leipzig is someone with that creativity, with that spark, that unpredictability almost about him in Cunha. And he's now doing bits at Hertha Berlin. How I don't know how that move even came along, because he's still a young lad as well.
Yeah,
that's the thing about
he
it.
didn't play too many games for Leipzig either, did he? I don't think.
But when he did play,
but
every time he played, he did something. And that's what I mean. That unpredictability is like, is he going to take him on? Is he going to do some mad skills? Is he going to bang it from 25 yards and hit the top corner?
Maybe I think Leipzig have got such a system in place where I think if you play outside the confines of that system, maybe they don't really like it. They like you to have to. Everyone has a job. The unpredictability doesn't really suit that system. So maybe it's just a wrong fit. And he seems to be fitting in well at Hertha Berlin. He scored quite a lot of goals since he's been there. I think I saw something, he's got 7 in his last 11 or something like that.
And important goals. That's the thing. Yeah. It's not just goals, like turning up, scoring in the 88th minute when you're already winning 4-0. He scores important goals for Hertha Berlin, and that's why I really like him. One player I want to talk about is David Selke. No. You know I love Bittencourt, mate. Honestly,
I don't know why.
Leandro Bittencourt is my boy, man. I absolutely love him. But Selke. I remember watching him in the European under-21s, the UEFA under-21s. It was probably about 5 or 6 years ago, and he absolutely lit it up. Big boy, target man, get your head on the end of it. And he was trying to come through at Werder Bremen back then, probably about 5 or 6 years ago. It hasn't worked out for him. Why has it not worked out for him, Flo?
I think Selke is a kind of striker who needs creative players behind him who can feed him with lots of assists. So he would be, from my point of view, he would be a striker for a top 4, top 5 club. And if he would play for, I don't know, Leverkusen or Leipzig, for example, I'm sure he would make his 10, 15, maybe 20 goals a season. But he left Leipzig very early because he wasn't in the starting 11, changed to Hertha Berlin. And Hertha Berlin and afterwards Werder Bremen were or are not the clubs which score that many goals in a season. So he can't prove himself. That's my theory. So he's maybe a man for, I don't know, 7 or 8 goals, but he won't get any more opportunities in those clubs. But that's like a struggle, because if you don't score the goals, you will never ever make the step to a bigger club or better club in the career.
Yeah, it's a catch-22. But the thing is, what is he, 6'4"? Just put crosses into him. Just keep putting crosses into him, because look, the goal came from a header. They were sort of a bit behind at that point anyway. It was difficult for them to try and get back into the game, but it was just proof. Just get big balls into the box, and he will get his head on it. If he doesn't score, he'll be able to create something, or like flick it across goal and try and bring someone else into the game. One player who did score a lot of goals last season, and it was probably what got in the move from Cologne, was John Cordoba, who scored right at the end. How much of John Cordoba did you boys see last season?
I didn't get to see much of him last season. I know his name. I've seen him pop up for a few times on the score sheet. I know he comes quite highly regarded. Works hard for the team. I saw that. He's a very hard worker. He's one of those tricky strikers who just won't leave you alone. And he popped up with a goal at the end there. So, as I said, they've got some good attacking players. We haven't even spoken about Piatek, who done really well in Italy, and I'm surprised that Hertha Berlin actually managed to get him. He's going to have another good season. He's going to score goals. As long as you put the ball in the box, he will score goals.
It's his lovely ball that he played with the outside of his right foot.
Yep.
To create the goal for John Cordoba right at the end. Just the fact that he's grafting like that. Your team's 3-1 up, and he's putting that much effort in the last minute. It's a joy to watch.
I think Hertha will surprise a few people this season.
But can you imagine them all to play at the same in the same game, like Cunha, Cordoba, Piatek, Luke Bacchio? Those are 4 strikers. It would be a massive amount of offensive players on the pitch.
Why not?
I think
why not?
If you're playing at home and you're playing a team like, I don't know, Bielefeld or someone who you would expect to
I don't want to talk about
dominate. Someone you'd expect to dominate.
They've upset me at the weekend.
Maybe. But you wouldn't go up against a Bayern Munich or Dortmund away with 4 strikers like that. No way. You'd get embarrassed.
No, 100%. You say about Bayern Munich? Well, didn't want to talk about them yet, but we'll talk about Bayern Munich. Let's do it. Bayern Munich 8, Schalke 08. That's their new name.
That's perfectly spelled. Great.
That's their new name. Hey, look, we all know what Bayern Munich are about. We've already seen them put 8 past a couple of clubs. I think in 19 games last season, if I'm right, they put at least 4 past 19 clubs in all competitions last season. Bayern Munich, they opened the season on Friday night, the first game of the season in the Bundesliga, and within 4 minutes, they were 1-0 up.
Yeah, it's
but the first chance was for Schalke, and everyone was like, after 30 seconds, so, whoa, what happened over there in summer? And 3 minutes later, it was like, okay, it's still the same. Unbelievable. I don't know what Schalke was playing this match. They played like a youth team. They were behind with 5 goals and still running forward and receiving counter-attacks for the 7th goal from Leroy Sané.
Yeah. I felt sorry for Schalke. I did, because
I don't.
I know they were a goal down in 4 minutes, but for the first 10, 15 minutes, they had opportunities. They got into dangerous areas. They just didn't have the quality to really hurt Bayern. But they were playing decent. And then the second goal went in, and then the third, and the rest is history.
And then Lewandowski put out the Rabona.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Mate.
Yeah.
Moment of the game. Absolute moment of the game. Because Lewandowski could have gone down there as well. Just before, like in that build-up, he could have easily gone down, but he stayed on his feet and then able to find a Rabona. But I want to talk about Schalke for a minute, because they've got David Wagner in charge, and like their end of season last season up until about November, were they 4th or 3rd in the league, and they went on a bit of a sad run. But then after lockdown, it's just some serious relegation fodder. And Schalke, they're regarded as a big club in Germany. You know, where's it all gone wrong over the years? I know Bayern Munich end up knobbing everyone off, and with the free transfers, you know, Goretzka's gone there, you know, Neuer went there, you know, Sané left. Went to City, and then is back at Bayern, sort of thing. But why? How could it fall off so badly for a giant club like Schalke?
The problem with the Giants club, or the giant clubs in Germany, or most of them, is that their ambition is higher than the reality is, and this process continues over years. In Schalke, for example, they wanted to play Champions League, or they saw themselves as a Champions League club, spent much more money than they had, and now they're nearly bankrupt. They needed a loan from the country, and they have no money to buy any players. They have to sell their best players. Look, the transfer of Ibisevic is like a great example for that they have really absolutely no opportunities. The players which were on loan, which were away, returned, and now they are the players who are where the hope belongs to, like Rudy playing right back. I don't know. From my point of view, Schalke is a very high contender for the relegation this season, a very big contender for the relegation this season.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
If you can't score goals, you're going to get relegated.
Yeah. Look at big clubs like Hamburg, Bremen, Cologne, Stuttgart. They all went the same way, and Schalke declined for a couple of years now, and I strongly believe that their declining will continue, and maybe not this season, maybe next season, but someday they will relegate.
It's sad, isn't it? It's a sad indictment of life. One player for Bayern Munich who had a great game, but you know, all of them did, was Joshua Kimmich. And he is, I don't know what his best position is. but I don't feel that hinders him being world class in any of those positions. So whether you play him right back, whether you play him in defensive midfield position, I've seen him play wide right times, and whatever position you put Joshua Kimmich, he is the best at it. And he got 2 assists, but one of the goals actually came from a ball. I think it was Sane's goal on 71. He didn't get the assist for it. Or was the goal after? I don't remember, but he played this worldy ball, and we would all dream of doing that down at Hackney Marshes or at the racecourse, and just pinging one in. And the way he does it with such ease, I think he's the only person that puts in all that effort yet comes off the pitch and doesn't even need to have a shower.
Yeah, he is. A lot of people. I mean, he's kind of plays in those positions where you don't get the acclaim. When you talk about the best players in the world, people aren't going to talk about Joshua Kimmich. They should, because a large part of football is football IQ. And you're not going to find many footballers who are smarter than Joshua Kimmich. He knows the game of football. I wouldn't be surprised if he was, after he's finished his playing career, which he's still got many years ahead of him, and won many, many more trophies, if he was a successful manager. He's that kind of player.
I wouldn't be surprised.
He looks like a manager on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? I have a lot of time for Joshua Kimmich. I think he's a brilliant player. And it just goes to show they've lost Thiago, who's one of the best orchestrators in central midfield. He just controls the tempo. And Kimmich went in there albeit against Schalke. There'll be bigger tests, but he went in there and he was doing the Thiago role. He was.
I don't think that.
Yeah, he stole the number. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna miss Thiago. And this is not any disrespect to Thiago or any disrespect to Liverpool that feel that they've bought the best midfielder in the history of mankind. They've got Kimmich there.
Yeah,
he's fine. There was another goal as well by a young German/English player. Now I want to ask Flo what you class him as, because I had the biggest amount of beef with this lad on Facebook the other day when I mentioned Jamal Musiala. He's 17 years old and he scored a lovely goal. He tore Becker inside out like he weren't even there, and just the level of disrespect. And he's 17, but is he English or is he German?
I believe he's from New Zealand, isn't he?
He was born in Stuttgart.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So, but he played for Chelsea Youth Academy or for
Chelsea Youth Academy. He's played for England youth up to the under-19s, and the Sun newspaper, which I can't stand anyway, were out there going, "Oh, English wonder kid. Oh, is it this? Is it that?" I was like, "He's German, mate." He might play for England, but honestly, if he starts doing the things that he needs to be doing like that for Bayern, that German passport will be coming straight out, and I can see him getting selected for the German national side 100%. Bayern Munich are also in action tomorrow night, and they will be playing against Sevilla in the European Super Cup. So, people in the UK, I don't know what it's like for you over there, Flozif, what channel that will be on, but over here it will be on BT Sport, and the game will be kicking off live at 8 p.m. Bayern versus Sevilla. Sevilla love Europa League football. Bayern love Champions League football. They're both very good at what they do. What way does this go?
I believe it goes to Bayern, because Bayern, they not only love Champions League football, they love trophies. They love silverware. They're addicted to it, and I can't imagine that they let Sevilla steal them this cup or this opportunity to have one more silverware. They love records, so maybe they're able to win 6 cups this season, and that's why I say they definitely will win this match.
Yeah, I think Bayern Munich don't know how to rest. They are ruthless. They are they just don't stop. I've likened them to bullies many times. They are bullies, and they're the kind of bully that never ever get what's coming to them. they just continue to be bullies throughout their life. I think Bayern Munich, they have, even when they're not playing at their best, they have the ability to just go up a level in a matter of seconds, and just they're so intense in the way they play as well. And I've said it many times, they're the most fluid team I think I've seen in a long, long time, in the fact that many of their players can play in different positions on the pitch. It's so natural. We just spoke about Kimmich, but you speak Boateng anywhere across the back line. You know, even Pavard, Hernandez, you know, Muller can play anywhere across the front. You know,
Neuer could play in behind, you know.
Yeah. But even on their bench, Javi Martinez, midfield or defence, he could put anywhere.
One of my favourite players of all time, by the way, Javi Martinez, does not get the respect levels that he deserves.
Yeah,
not Adrian Silva.
Team. Who?
Adrian Silva was your favourite player all time.
Adrian Silva.
Again.
We're gonna talk about that in a minute, right? And I might have to just leave you two to talk about that game when we do talk about them in a few moments' time. In fact, I just looked at our run sheet and it's actually the last game, so that's great. I could just leave you to go and talk about that. I don't want to talk about that later. Jay Spurs is watching on YouTube. You can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. Not on Instagram. I'm lying about that one, but you can follow us on that. Sevilla also lost Reguilon as well, and he was integral, and he was integral to what they were doing. The thing is, they also like trophies, do Sevilla, and they can be so frustrating at times. So I don't know whether whether Bayern's fluidity will be able to exert the defence in particular to Sevilla. I think this game's going to be a lot closer than people think. However, I'm still going for a Bayern win as well. Right.
Would you have travelled to the match if you were a Bayern Munich fan, had the opportunity? Because in Germany there's a huge discussion that the Bayern Munich fans shall not travel to Budapest because it's a risk area.
Yeah.
And even the Bavarian Prime Minister had an argument about it.
Well, look, it's Budapest.
Yeah,
it's Budapest. It's one of the greatest cities in Europe. You know, outside of Germany. I love Budapest. I've been 4 times, and they now have the electric scooters, which I think are really bloody cool. So if I was a Bayern fan, I would 100% be going to Budapest, and I'll be happy to quarantine for 14 days as well. Let's talk about your boys, Flo.
Oh, there will be a short conversation, I guess.
Yeah, Wolfsburg 0. Wolfsburg. Do you know what? I didn't even put a graphic for it. The thing going down the bottom. I literally just let it go completely. Let's put our personal tweets in there instead. Hey, look, at Total Top Football, at TFB Dugout, at GavMat23, and at Devo LDN. That's our social media links. Buy Leverkusen, mate.
Such a boring.
There's not a lot to say.
I guess we lost, I don't know, 50 goals with Havertz and Volland. I mean, in terms of goal scorings and assists. And we saw that on the pitch on Sunday. It was quite boring. Not many ideas in the offense or in the offensive playing of Leverkusen. Good point is, or if you want to see the good points, it was a good defense on this day, which we hadn't in the last couple of games. So I don't know. Let's wait for the transfer market to continue. We signed Santiago Arias today, and
good time.
If you watch the Bayer Leverkusen channels on Instagram and Facebook, you will see a video where I will be as a jogger and welcome Arias. So if you want to give me some appreciation,
put the links. Send us the links and we'll send it out there. The only good thing about this game is if you've got Hidreki and you got you a clean sheet. So let's move on because there isn't really anything else about that game. Hey, look,
I had Tapsoba in my team. So
there you go. So it's party time for you. Clean sheets. They're clean sheets. Newly promoted. And German giant, let's be honest, Stuttgart. They played against Freiburg, who surprised a lot of teams last season, didn't they?
Usually at home, though. So usually Freiburg are pretty strong at home, so I was a bit shocked. But not shocked, but I thought Stuttgart might get something out of this game. And they were close to it at the end. A brilliant save by the new Freiburg keeper.
What a great save from Müller. And because he got involved a couple of times as well, but like he was so unsighted with that shot. So Freiburg, they're cruising, by the way. They're 3-0 up. They're having a great time. They've got brandy in one hand. They've got a fat cigar in the other. And they fell asleep. They fell asleep. And you can't do that against newly promoted sides, as we'll allude to in a few moments again. Niels Peterson. I like him, you know.
Legend. He's a legend.
Hasn't he got the record for the most substitute goals?
Yeah.
Or the most goals from the bench in Bundesliga history.
And he's in Freiburg, he's a hero. The people love him because he's totally down to earth. I don't know, he comes in, he scores, he plays, he scores. He won't leave the club. That's it doesn't happen very often to them that the player doesn't leave Freiburg. So.
Yeah, but you told us on the review show that we did, the review shows that we were doing last season, that Freiburg is an absolute city, isn't it?
It's the best city in Germany from my point of view. I've been there in summer holidays again. I absolutely love it. People are outside. You have a great climate. Devo, I could talk to you hours about it. Yeah. You could make an own podcast talking about the city of Freiburg.
Well, the side show of the Bundesliga show is the Freiburg show with Flo Walkram, and you'll be able to watch that tomorrow at 7 o'clock. I'm joking. But Grifo as well. He had a game, and he, I think, is going to earn a lot of fantasy points this season.
Yeah. Well, funnily enough, I had him in my draft, and then I took him out. I had him in my team, and I took him out. I can't remember off the top of my head who I put in instead, but it didn't get me any points. But I know because Grifo, who was he playing for before Freiburg?
That's a funny thing. He works at Freiburg, but nowhere else. He was playing for them, I don't know, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Changed to Borussia Mönchengladbach.
That's it. Yeah.
Didn't work. Changed to Hoffenheim. Didn't work. Changed to Freiburg again. Worked.
Yeah.
Works. Yeah. Sometimes you need that though, is it? Some players work at certain teams.
Yeah, it's the surroundings. You're familiar. You know, you feel at home. A lot of footballers need to feel loved. You know, and sometimes it just works for you. But yeah, Freiburg will be very happy with the 3 points there. As I said, from what I know of Freiburg, at home they're dangerous. They've taken points over some of the bigger boys in the league last season. Very strong at home. So any points they can get away from home will help. Because I mean, their ambition will be to stay in the league. They're not the biggest of clubs. Their ambition will be stay in the league first and then build on that thereafter. So 3 points away from home against a club like Stuttgart, that's a good result.
But what I loved about Stuttgart is that they have a very young team, and the goals from Freiburg came because the team was so inexperienced. But they still continued. They continued running. They continued attacking. I really love the way of playing from Stuttgart on this match, and I believe that they will. This will reward them during the season.
Well, I thought both goals were taken. I thought both goals were taken really well. Anyway, the first one for Kalajdzic, the way the ball was, the through ball and just the finish was really smart. And considering that you're 3-0 down, you've just been promoted, you don't think it's, it might be a bit difficult. And the way Wamanga Tuka cut inside and finish that as well. So, two really good finishes for a newly promoted team that are 3-0 down with 20 minutes to go. So I think Stuttgart might, I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be okay this season. We'll go through the last three games, then we'll talk about who do you think will finish where. I think that'll be the best thing to do. Right, so the next game, this did help me in my ACCA, which I was very happy about. I didn't think it was going to because I thought it was dodgy because Union Berlin at home, especially when there's fans there, know how to get a result. But they weren't able to against Augsburg. My boy didn't score, Niederlechner. I love Niederlechner. He's not in my fantasy. Yeah, he's not in my fantasy this year, so I'm okay on that front. But the goals came from Vargas, Gregorich, and Hahn. But it wasn't plain sailing. And when Bulter scored the equaliser, they almost scored again moments later. And it could have been a real difficult turnaround. But, with 15 minutes to go, I think what they should have done is probably sat on it a little bit. You know, Union are not a very attacking team. It was quite interesting to see a lot of players in their mid to late 20s playing for Union Berlin, because that is the retirement home for many players in Germany. You know, Berlin's a great city. I've lived there. I know it firsthand. But Augsburg, they're a team that you expect to be knocking around the 13th, 14th position, not quite in the playoff relegation position, not quite top half. But a game like that, away from home, that's going to buoy them with confidence, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I find them quite similar to Freiburg in the fact that their ambition will be to get enough points to be comfortable in the league. Anything thereon after will be, a bit of a bonus. But they've got some good players there. They signed Caligiuri from Schalke,
Good player.
Who's a good player, who do very well in Augsburg. Vargas is a good player as well. So they've got some good players there, and I think this is a good result away from home. Again, points to pick up away from home isn't the easiest. But yeah, I think they're a nice, neat little side. And I think the goalkeeper who they actually signed from Union Berlin,
they switched the goalkeepers.
Switched goalkeepers,
actually,
and I think there's the moment that you was alluding to earlier. Their save, point blank header, and he somehow managed to throw his hand up and push it over the bar. That's a
I don't know how he's done it. I don't know how he's done it, because that was. I'm lying. It wasn't to take the lead. It was 2-1 to Augsburg, and it was straight from kickoff. They got a corner, Union, and it was off the back of that. It was Tuchel who came off the bench, and then and literally, I don't understand how he was able to react so well. Look, if that was Jan Oblak who made that save, or David De Gea, or Alisson who made that save, we wouldn't hear the end of it. That's how well that save was. 100%. But yeah, Augsburg ended up going out and getting it. Hahn with a minute and a half or so to go before the end of the game, and they ended up winning 3-1. 2 more games to go through, and there were a number of goals in this next one that we're going to be talking about. And as Cologne, or FC Köln, as the Germans call it, what was my pronunciation like? Was that good, Flo?
Your pronunciation is lovely. Not just Köln, also Mönchengladbach. You sound like a real German.
Stop it! Oh my god! But yeah, it was. Oh, you're making me all shy. If it wasn't so black, I'll be blushing right now. Right. So are you allowed to say that nowadays? I don't know if you're allowed to say that.
You can say what you want. It's fine.
Hey, look. English football fans will know this name of the hat-trick scorer from Hoffenheim, and that is Kramaric. Remember Kramaric? He didn't really turn it on after that record 9 million signing to Leicester City, but since he's been in Germany, he's found his home, hasn't he, Flo?
Yeah, yes, and he was on fire at the end of the last season, scoring 4 goals in Dortmund, and now is still burning, scoring 2 goals in the cup, 3 goals at Cologne. I believe this will be the last year for him at Hoffenheim, because he is definitely a league higher than Hoffenheim is. He's a way better player, or too good for the squad. So I'm really sure he will leave next summer and play for a Champions League club or a bigger club, because what he does is insane. He carries the team through the whole season. He's definitely the major and the best player in Hoffenheim.
I just love the fact that he scores different types of goals, and like, for instance, like the opening goal, it came from a defensive error. It was calamitous. Jonas Hector just literally sold Tim Horn down the river, threw him completely under a bus. But Kramaric was there to pounce on it and just slot one home. And it's like, hey, look, it doesn't matter how the goals go in, you are scoring goals, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, and his penalty, although it was a penalty, it was
a penalty.
A very well taken penalty. Very calm. He's run up and side netting. As long as you can hit the side netting with a bit of pace, you're likely to score. It was a very well taken penalty. I don't think he misses many.
No.
Yeah,
they put the graphic on the screen, and every penalty that he and Lewandowski as well that I've had on target in the last couple of years, if they're on target, he scores them. There was one by Kramaric and one by Lewandowski that both were skied. But other than that, everything else hits the back of the net.
Yeah, no, he's a very good player. And I don't think he'll be at Hoffenheim for much more than the end of the season. I'll be very surprised.
He shouldn't be, because he's able to much more.
Yeah.
Seb Anderson did equalise for. Say again, Flo.
Maybe someone for Arsenal for you guys.
No, you're right. No, I'm busy. Thanks. Seb Anderson scored the equaliser. The amount of debut goals this weekend as well was crazy, you know. But yeah, that's his. He's been at Union Berlin, who we just spoke about a moment ago, and it was a good header to make it one apiece. But yeah, definitely a penalty. I don't understand why it went to VAR for me. I look at the travel of the ball. Mm-hmm. And the direction it went, for me, that tells me it's a foul straight away. But hey, look, you got to do the right thing sometimes, and if you need to double check it, then go double check it, and that's fine. But yeah, Kramaric, he had other ideas at the end of the game, and thought, you know, I'm having this, and bagged that trick, and off he goes with the match ball, the old Derby Star. I bet you call it Derby Star, don't you? The match balls over there.
We call it Derby Star.
Derby Star, yeah.
But Derby Star is usually always was a Sunday league ball. You know, there were. I don't know if you
it looks like it as well.
Yeah. Do you have these kind of
like a Sunday league football
in England, which hurt when you make a header? You know, because they're so heavy.
Yeah.
Or if it's cold and you get them right on the ass or something like that, if you're a defender, and it's such a pain. These are the Derby Star balls, or have been the Derby Star balls throughout my whole amateur football career. They're always hurting me, and all of a sudden, Derby Star is a ball partner of the Bundesliga.
Someone must be putting their backhands in pockets, you know. Right. I don't want to do this, but we're going to have to do it because it's a game that played at the weekend. We're going to have to talk about my favourite two strikers in the history of mankind. Flo knows all about these two and how much I love them. Eintracht Frankfurt won. Arminia Bielefeld won. Now, this game was the one that absolutely ruined my back pocket. Gamble responsibly, boys and girls. All I needed was a Frankfurt win. 230 quid off a fiver.
Oh.
And I go 1-0 down to Arminia Bielefeld, who have just been promoted as well, back to the Bundesliga after a number of years out. Before we go along, you got a bit of love here, Dylan, who's part of the team, top family now. I like Florian. He seems like a good guy. He's a very good guy.
No, I'm flattered. Dylan, you're a great guy too. I'm sure. I'd love to meet you when I come to England.
Two top fans. Right. So, right. Suko. He scored the opener. And it was a bit of a shock to the system because Frankfurt were in control of this game in the whole of the first half. They were chilling. You know, Hinteregger hit the bar. You know, there were chances each way, but Frankfurt were in full control. But then that happens, and it winds me up. And then my two favourite players in the history of mankind, Bas Dost and Andre Silva, link up and score, and I literally sat there like, for the record, anyone who's watching, or listening, I am taking the mick. There are two strikers that I do not rate, and I absolutely hate. And I'd rather have Shamak and Bentner up front than these two, man. Honestly,
Lord Bentner to give him his
Lord Bentner the first.
Yeah.
If you like, I can switch the focus from Andre Silva to the defender from Arminia Bielefeld who hurt him in the header.
Oh yeah, that was
for the bar. Anders von Lukoki. He's from Leverkusen, and I played with him together when I was 6 years old, 4 years. He switched to Bayer Leverkusen, and what I admire about him is that he made it to the Bundesliga because it never ever seemed like this. I don't know how he made it, but he must have a huge will and strength inside himself because he played for Leverkusen Academy, wasn't good enough for under 17 teams, switched to Cologne, wasn't good enough for under 19, switched to Düsseldorf, and all of a sudden he plays for the second team, plays for the first team in Düsseldorf in second league, switched to Arminia Bielefeld. Has a couple of games there. They promote, and he's a Bundesliga player now. Don't know how that happened, but congratulations to this guy.
Fair play to him. Well done. I'll tell you what, it also goes to show. Yeah, exactly. Graft.
Exactly.
Put that
Never
graft
give up.
in. Indeed. But yeah, I don't like Bas Dost. I don't like Andre Silva. Anyway,
that was a good save from Ortega. The Andre Silva, the back heel. Where if he would have put a little bit more on the back heel, he would have scored. But it was a good save from Ortega.
What annoys me though, Devo, yeah, is the fact that Andre Silva, since the restart, scored so many goals. Was it 9?
Or 11?
Was it 9 and 11? Or 11 and 9?
No, I think it was 9 and 11.
And I'm just like, every time I cuss you out, you end up scoring. And the fact that it was those two that linked up, it was the backwards header by Bas Dost, who do you know, I'm not talking about them anymore. Right, okay. Let's get the unnecessary league table up. Hey, why don't we do that? Let's you know, Bayern absolutely cruising at the top of the league. With their one win from one game. No, but you know, goal difference will play a big part at the moment. But end of the day, it's head to head, so goal difference is going to make a difference at the other end of the season. But yeah, that's the league table at the moment, and then let's get the fixtures up for next week. So the games kick off on Friday from 7:30 UK time. We do UK time. Sorry, Flo. With Hertha Berlin, they host Frankfurt on Saturday lunchtime. All the early afternoon games. Mönchengladbach versus Union Berlin. Bayer Leverkusen versus Leipzig. Mainz versus Stuttgart. Augsburg versus Borussia Dortmund, and Arminia Bielefeld versus Cologne or FC Köln. The Saturday evening game sees Schalke face Bremen. We'll talk about that in a couple of moments. Hoffenheim versus Bayern is the Sunday afternoon game, and the Sunday evening game is Freiburg versus Wolfsburg. Now, we spoke briefly about who's going to come where in the league and stuff. And if we just go to that Schalke Werder Bremen game, is that already a 6-pointer?
It is, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Second game of the season, we're talking about a 6-pointer game.
It will maybe not. Devil, please. No, go on, please.
Because it's narrow margins at the end of the season, isn't it? I think games like this, because these are the teams that you need to take points off of. If you're Bremen, you're looking at Schalke. They just got battered 8. They're not scoring goals. They haven't scored goals since the restart of last season. I think they've only scored 1 or 2.
I think one of those goals was against Leverkusen, if I remember rightly.
Oh, don't talk about this game. It cost us the Champions League. Unbelievable. Everyone beats Schalke, and we are not able to win against the better under-19 team from them.
They put out five teenagers in that game as well, and they got a point.
I don't want to start about the referee from that game, but stop it.
Sorry, carry on, Dev.
I think Bremen will be looking at it thinking, like, we need to take something from this game. They're there to be beat. I fear for Schalke. I think when we're looking at relegation, I think Schalke will be, unless something drastic happens, I don't know, they get a new manager in and all of a sudden, poof, all these players remember that they're actually professionals, which I don't think is going to happen. I think Schalke will be in deep trouble. I think Bremen will be down there as well, but it could be little things like this result, which separates the two sides. So yeah, it's a big game for me.
Flo, do you think the 3 promoted clubs will all survive, or which one of those do you feel will be dragged into a relegation battle?
Well, I believe from the 2 promoting clubs, Stuttgart will survive.
Sorry, two promoted clubs. Sorry, yeah, because Werder Bremen they survived in the playoff against Hamburg, didn't they? So
Heidenheim.
Heidenheim. Sorry.
Yeah, I think Stuttgart will survive, and Bielefeld won't, because Bielefeld is just in a financially way. They're too far apart from the other teams in the Bundesliga. They're by far the club with the least money, even less than Union Berlin, for example, or Augsburg or Freiburg. And they don't have experienced players, and all what they can do is distracting, playing in a destructive way, maybe getting a point here, a point there. But I'm quite sure that this won't be enough at the end of the season. Maybe having a lucky win at home, but I can't imagine them to stay in the league. And next to Bielefeld, I believe it will be very difficult for Union Berlin, because it's the second year.
Yes, I
the
think
euphoria
so
is
too.
gone. You don't have all the fans in the stadium at the moment, and this was the big bonus in the first year. The home matches at home,
that's what helps them out massively.
Yeah.
That crowd at Union Berlin is raucous, and teams shouldn't be intimidated, but the fans are pretty much on top of the pitch at Union Berlin, aren't they? They're right in your face. So I think the bottom three, I don't know the order yet, but I think the bottom three will be Arminia Bielefeld. I see Schalke in there, and then Union Berlin. I think Schalke might scrape 16th, and if they do, the record over the last 30 years will say that they'll stay in the Premier League, in the Bundesliga for next season as well, won't they? Because not many teams are able to beat the team in 16th since the restructure.
Yeah, and many fans hate the restructure in Germany, because they say the team which finished third should be rewarded in the second league. But I have the opposite opinion, because from my point of view, the quality in the league is more important. And if the team from the second league isn't able to beat the first league team, it hasn't deserved it, even though it played a great season. And the difference in quality is too big from the 16th in the Bundesliga to the third and second Bundesliga.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's a good way of determining it, really, because it's if it was a one-off game, I would think that anything can happen in a one-off game.
Yeah.
But a true measure of if you're ready for that step up is a two-legged tie. You play home and away against a side that is deemed to be not good enough to be in that top position division. If you can't beat that team, then that would prove that you're not ready for that step up.
Yeah, it's not about going out and getting the odd lucky win, is it? I think you're right. One comment that's come in before we shoot off about the Leverkusen game. Didn't quite see the Leverkusen game, but was a fan of Florian Wirtz. Now, Florian Wirtz is the record holder in the Bundesliga, the youngest ever goal scorer in Bundesliga history. And it was great to watch that goal last season. He took it really well. Do you think Florian Wirtz is good enough, or has he got the potential enough to be the new Kai Havertz?
Well, first of all, I think there can't be a new Kai Havertz, because Havertz, in his way of playing, can't be replaced one-on-one. He's high, he's fast, he's good with the ball on the feet, he's a good heading player. And Wirtz, the comparison is obvious, because he's also quite young. He's the youngest goal scorer. He has huge abilities. I believe maybe one day he can replace him in a role that he is vital for our game, for sure, because he's quite a good player already with 17 years old. But I don't think that this will be this season. I believe this season he will be given the time from the coach, from the whole club, to just develop slowly and continuously, maybe allow them to have some mistakes in this game. And maybe next year or the year afterwards, he will have an important role for Leverkusen. I'm quite sure, but not at the moment. But I'm pretty sure about the fact that we will have a lot of fun with Wirtz this season, because he's good at scoring goals. He's good with the ball on the feet. He's fast. I believe there will be some goals and assists to be seen from Wirtz this year.
Devo, who's your dark horse of the season?
Hertha Berlin. I think Hertha Berlin, dark horse as in not to win the title, obviously, but to pick up some big wins and challenge for the Champions League places. I think Hertha Berlin, if they could keep players fit, I think they might sneak into the race. I'm not sure if they'll get there, but I reckon they'll be there or thereabouts.
Why do you call it dark horse, or what?
So, yeah, I forget. Like Flo will always message me after and goes, "Oh, that's another like English saying. I like that one. Yeah, I'm going to keep that one." So a dark horse is someone who you don't expect to do something, but they surprise a lot of people. It just happens all of a sudden. It's like, "Oh wow, I wasn't expecting that. Oh, that was a bit of a dark horse." So yeah.
Okay.
So Hertha Berlin is Devo's. Who's yours?
Maybe Hoffenheim, but Hertha Berlin is too obvious. You know, they spent a lot of money, they improved the team. I wouldn't call them a dark horse, maybe a slightly dark horse. I don't know if you can say that. Something like that. Or not a shiny horse, I don't know.
Yeah, a mixed race horse.
Something like that. But I believe the top 4 or top 5 are quite deeply structured. You know, you have Bayern Munich at the top, and you have Gladbach, Leverkusen, Dortmund, and Leipzig behind, as it was the last 2 or 3 years. And those 4 clubs are fighting for 3 Champions League positions. Maybe Hertha can can get one of the spots for the Champions League, but I believe they are too inconsistent this season. I remember last week they lost against the second league promoter in the cup 5-4 in 90 minutes. 5-4. Was it an ice hockey game or what? I don't know. So maybe Hoffenheim can improve this year, because they seem to have had a good coach, or bought a new good coach, and I'm really looking forward to them, or hope them to play a good role, but not too good to be dangerous for Leverkusen, of course.
I think I know it's just going to come back to bite me in the backside because of how much I hate the 2 strikers, but I'm going with Eintracht Frankfurt. They've still got Kostic there, and is a good player. They've got an idea on how to be structured at the back. And hey, look, I don't like him, but he is scoring goals, so I think they will shock a few teams. Could they get a top 6? You don't know, but I think they might be knocking about. But that's it really for game day 1 of the Bundesliga review show. Next week for Bundesliga show game day 2, it'll be Davo who's going to be presenting that, and you will be able to watch it live on their channel, and then we're going to be rotated like that each week, you know. So make sure you show love to both pages, at Top Football, at TFB Dugout, personal Twitters at GavMac23, at Devo LDN. Flo, you on Twitter?
I'm not actually.
I felt bad for not putting your Twitter handle in here. I really did. I was thinking
there was a reason.
That's right. You could just reshare it. And yeah. As it's on Two at Top's channel, I just got to let everyone know that if you put Two at Top into Google, our name comes up first. Did you know that? Interesting. So yeah, Devo, get those Google ads out there, and make sure anyone puts the football dugout, your name comes up first, and then you can say that on your show, and then just makes you feel really good and really smug. Thanks a lot, everyone, and good night.